And what's up, everybody? Back with another episode of the Talkin' NASCAR podcast. I'm joined once again by Hitmaster. How's it going? Episode number 48. We got a lot to talk about today, including recapping the events at Indy and also, playoff picture and everything that goes along with that. And then we got a lot of other news, and then, of course, at the end, we will preview this weekend's action in Watkins Glen. So, anyway, I don't know how much of the weekend stuff you got to watch, but I got to watch a decent amount of the stuff. We'll start with the truck race at the Indy Raceway Park. I got to watch about the last 50 laps of the race. It wasn't anything too spectacular by any means. Ty Majeski was able to easily take the win, pulled away pretty handily at the end of the race. I watched about the last 50 laps and was able to get the win and advance to the next round in the playoffs. So I don't really have any other notes from that because I didn't get to watch as much as I wanted to, but
at the end of when we recap the truck, or when we are done recapping the truck series, I did just find out some news about some truck drivers that are suspended. So
yeah, I've got that down on the list too. That was pretty big stuff. We'll get to that a little bit later. For the Xfinity race, I know they did a doubleheader this weekend with IndyCar. We're not gonna talk about the IndyCar race, obviously, but also because I didn't get a chance to watch it. But for the Xfinity race, there was a rain delay midway through the race, which was annoying because they have the rain tires and the windshield wipers, so they shouldn't need to do a rain delay, but they did. But there's a lot of stuff happened in the race, a lot of action on the track. It was a very up and down day for the cutoff drivers as well, with a lot of drivers like Sheldon Creed falling back a lot. But Ty Gibbs was able to win in pretty convincing fashion and get the win there. So not anything otherwise too exciting, but at least glad they were able to get it in. So
right.
And then the Cup race. I don't know. Did you get to watch any of that or?
Only got to watch the ending.
Okay.
So basically, no.
Well, there's only one caution because no stage yellows, obviously, with the road courses. So that took into account some pretty good pit strategy during the race as well. So, so that was pretty cool to see like some of the more old school stuff that they got to include. Suarez had a really good day to help boost his points picture, but it really didn't matter because Michael McDowell, who was outside the playoff grid looking in, was able to get the win in very convincing fashion late in the race. Did a really, really good job, ran really, really well, and was able to get the win and lock himself in. So that shook up the playoff grid even more. So it ended up sending Suarez back, even though he got stage points and ran up front and finished in the top 5. He had lost points on the playoff grid, as did everybody else. So, but for McDowell, I mean, that's really good. He's in the playoffs, got another win, and so did really, really well. So, for sure, they're calling it like this doubleheader when he won Daytona and he won Indy. I don't really count it as a win in Indy though because he didn't win on the oval. So, oh well. But and it was Ty Gibbs had a really bad day. Didn't get any points at all. Suarez probably could have won the race, but he got screwed over by a bad pit stop late in the race that costed him lots of track position, and so he wasn't able to move on because of that. And I gotta also point out, everybody finished the race, which I don't think has happened in a long, long time. especially even this race. There's about 36, 37 drivers normally for a race, but now we had 39 for this race because of all the international drivers that were in the race. By the way, they did fairly decent to not that great. I know AJ Allmendinger was also supposed to be like a big factor in the race, and he didn't have a great day at all. Shane Van Gisbergen, he got a top 10, but barely. A lot of other drivers ran mid-pack to the back of the pack. Didn't really do anything too spectacular. But 39 drivers, and all of them finished the race with a little asterisk. Because Eric Almirola pulled into pit road in like the last couple laps and then got out of his car. So he technically didn't finish the race, but it says he was running in the final like run order standings, like the finishing order. So I'm going to count it and say that everybody...
It's funny how at the end when 34 team was just celebrating, all they could see was just the 10 car just
parked
just
there.
Sitting there.
Yeah, it was really weird, but I think that's cool that everybody was able to technically finish the race. So and then it brings up the debate, I guess, we got to talk about before we leave Indy in the books. A lot of people are calling for the oval to return. Do we think that should happen or not?
Yes.
You think yes?
See, if you didn't want to do the Brickyard 400, why did you guys even have an inaugural race? Like, I mean, if you guys wanted to do the roll so bad, you guys just could have, did the inaugural road course race. But
you mean to start the oval in general?
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say.
I don't know. Do you think the road course has been better than the oval was? It's hard to say for me.
I mean, in my opinion, I don't think the road courses are even safe for the drivers, in my opinion. Just mainly because if we go back to Chicago Street Course, you could say, oh, it was raining there, so that's why people wrecked so much. But, I mean, I don't know what year it was. I think it was 2011. Look at the frickin' Watkins Glen race. When David Ruderman wrecked and hit that wall hard.
Right.
Like, could have frickin' killed him.
Right. I don't know. I mean, to me, I think that it's hard to say, right? Like, I think it's hard to say because the oval was it's hard to say. Like, the oval had its moments, but and I really want to see how the oval would work out with the next gen car. And I think, but they changed around the date and the new formats and stuff, and some also the tire issues that came like the late 2000s and stuff kind of screwed over the oval. So I don't know how. And then they also have so many seats to fill there, so it doesn't look like it's a very successful race. It doesn't turn a big profit. I think with the road course, they don't have to maintain as much as the grounds, and that brings more profit because it's also same amount of crowd, less expenses, so they might be looking at it as a profit from there. But I think we've had three Indy road course races now, and I think they've had some very, very different experiences. The original, the inaugural one in 2021, that was a crap fest. Then 2022 they come back with the next gen cars, and it was a little bit less of a crap fest, but I'd still call it a crap fest. This year, I mean, there was an early caution for Justin Haley and Kyle Busch crashing. And that was it. On like lap 2, I think it was. And then it was caution free till the end. Debatably, there should have been probably a couple late yellows, but they were able to keep it not, and I think that allowed us to see, okay, this is the skill that drivers can show off here. So I don't know, they really should bring back the oval. I'm not 100% against the Indy road course. Having seen a race at Indy in the oval and it being one of the most boring sporting events I've ever been to in my life, I could really care less. But I know a lot of fans want to go back to revert to what the old stuff was. But in all honesty, I don't know. Maybe try it with the next gen car. Maybe it'll be better. Maybe it won't. Who knows? So like I say, I could go both ways with it for sure. But that's kind of my take on the whole situation.
I mean, heck, I would do it. Since they have sometimes 2 races there, do one race Indy or the Brickyard, and then the later year after Michigan, do the road course, because then it makes more sense. Because then
Maybe.
not only do you have your Brickyard for people that like to see the Brickyard 400, but then later on in the year they can go back and they can see the road course for people that like road course racing. So it's like, but
I mean, bringing back the Indy Oval probably isn't a bad idea if they're going to do a bunch of road courses a year. Like, I think a third of the schedule almost is road courses now. So you take that into consideration. Maybe it's not such a bad idea to bring back the Indy Oval, but it's all really about. I mean, you can talk about race product, you can talk about fan reception, but at the end of the day, it's all about profit. And if they're making more profit with the road course, they're gonna keep doing it, unless there's a huge driver boycott, which is very unlikely, but not completely out of the possibility. But we'll have to see. It's kind of the take. We'll see where it goes. I know there's a tire test for the Indy Oval. That was scheduled a couple days ago. I don't know if it's happened, but it has happened. It will happen, and and putting Indy Oval on the 2024 schedule is in heavy consideration by NASCAR. That has been very much thought of for sure. So it'll be very interesting to see where this progresses and where we go. But it's kind of our whole thing about Indy. Overall, I thought it wasn't a horrible race weekend. Could have gone better, but could have also gone a lot worse. And got some really good playoff shakeups. And overall saw a pretty authentic racing product, especially with the Xfinity and Cup not having stage cautions. I think that was a huge difference that we got to see. So I don't know if you have any other lingering thoughts before we move on.
not that I can think of. I was gonna say something, but I'll wait until the end because it's kind of. I told everyone else in the Discord chat, but I want to save this for the end of this NASCAR podcast.
Okay. Well then, how about we move on then? So there's a penalty we missed post Michigan race. Cole Custer in the Xfinity race was penalized for I think it was a splitter malfunction or splitter infraction, something like that. But he was fined $25,000 and docked 20 driver and owner points plus 5 playoff points as a result. So a pretty high end penalty for sure. So for sure. Other silly season news. Front Row confirmed that Mike McDowell and Todd Gilliland will return in 2024. This was prior to the Indy race, so with Mike McDowell's win, it really only confirms it that he is going to be back. And Todd Gilliland is a little bit more questionable of a decision in my opinion, but I definitely think he's got a lot more room to develop. So I think that'll be good. Some other big news. Kevin Harvick revealed last week that he is actually racing on was racing the last few weeks with broken ribs. That's pretty big news. Because this was like Nashville and something else. I don't remember what was around the Nashville race. But he raced like 2 races with some pretty bad broken ribs, and they've mostly healed now, he said. But that's pretty tough stuff to do,
Oh yeah.
especially at his later age, and with driving around that long, that's hard to do. So kudos to Harvick, wanting to race for everybody for the retirement tour and everything like that, was able to run the full, still at least running the full schedule. So great stuff there. But that's a tough thing to do. So for Harvick. Like I said before, a tire test has been scheduled for the Indy Oval, and considerations to put it back on the 2024 schedule. Already talked about that. We don't need to talk about it more.
And we won't have to worry about Indianapolis taking over Michigan's schedule because technically, when we went to MIS, they said that the Firekeepers was going to be sponsoring Michigan for 8 years, I think it was.
It was a 10-year extension.
10 year. So
So it's not going.
don't worry. It ain't going for a
The
while.
Firekeepers Casino 400 is not going anywhere anytime soon. At least according to Firekeepers themselves. So, some other stuff. Simons, I think it's how you pronounce it. They're going to be sponsoring Martin Truex this weekend at Watkins Glen. That's pretty cool that they're making a return. They used to have a pretty big sponsorship presence back in like 2010, 2009 time. So it's good that they're returning. Some other paint schemes. Christopher Bell is going to be running a DeWalt concrete paint scheme at Watkins Glen as well. So that was pretty cool. I saw that one got revealed. So that it looks pretty nice. Not going to lie. Gaming news. NASCAR Arcade Rush has a release date. September 15th. So coming out on console and PC. And I want to know, we probably talked about it before, but Hitmaster, I want to get your thoughts on it. Are you going to be getting this game?
No.
And why is that?
So, I'm one of those people, and, some people have their games. I'm one of those people where I'm okay with arcades and all that, but when it comes to NASCAR, I want it to be realistic. Like with NASCAR Heat and NASCAR Rivals, I went from the Dirt Tour, well, not Rivals, but I went from the Dirt Tour to the Cup Series.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I want to do it. I don't want to just go around and do different tracks and all that and do what's not realistic. To me, if I was going to get it, I'd probably play it one time a day, a week, and then just be done with it until the next week, and then play it again until the next week, or when my friends are coming over, play it. But I'm into realistic kind of things.
Right. I can see that. I'm probably also not going to get it, just because I don't really want to. It doesn't look horrible, but it doesn't look great either. There is a big rejoice with the NASCAR gaming community right now, though, because NASCAR is free from Motorsport Games, which is the company that made the name redacted Ignition 21. Yeah, so probably a good idea that they are done with that for sure. We don't need another repeat.
Maybe they can go back to doing NASCAR Heat.
I don't think. Maybe they can try and actually be good for once, But we'll see. Maybe it'll be good. Who knows?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, hopefully, maybe this will be good. Maybe I like to think it might be good, but
Right.
we've had a consistent results of being disappointed. So looking like that might be another round of that. But we'll see. I might get it if the reception is pretty good, or I just have a surge in income or something like that, or I just feel like getting it. We'll see, though. So, anyway, what do you want to say?
If you were about to say it, Ricky Stenhouse driving the Ego car.
Lego my ego.
Basically, it's that. Uh,
Ugh.
at the Glen.
Ugh, that's not. I don't like that.
I don't.
No,
I don't like it.
I don't like it. I think it's. See, he's been sponsored by Kroger for so long that there just has to be some sort of blue on the car, and there really isn't.
Most likely, well, this is the side, so most likely on the back it'll say Kroger, or somewhere it's gonna say Kroger. So, I mean, it's just
Most
going what the
likely.
page is gonna be.
Most likely, yeah. Um, some other silly season stuff. Austin Hill just today signed a multi-year extension to keep running in RCR for the Xfinity Series. I know he's been one of the higher up candidates, possibly to go to the Cup Series, or at least try his hand at the Cup Series next season. But he's still going to have his footing at the Xfinity level, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes. So, no confirmed stuff for him, I think, in the Cup Series yet. So, then a couple of bigger things. You brought it up earlier. How about you introduce this stuff with these truck drivers here? What's going on?
So, with these truck drivers, there are some suspensions. I have to re-get it, but some of these suspensions I was telling my dad, and all I said to him was, NASCAR's going to crap. Um, um, I think what they did is dumb, especially one of them. Um, so, following news of their arrest for suspected DUIs, NASCAR suspended Truck Series driver Chris Hacker and Jason White indefinitely. Hacker was arrested August 15th, and White was arrested August 3rd. In addition, NASCAR has also suspended Joel Courage. This sentence is gonna get me so much because I hate it when people are noticed as this. He was recently arrested for failing to register as a sex offender. Um,
Huh.
but yeah. Rule 4.4D says that member actions that could result in a fine or an indefinite suspension, or actions of by a NASCAR member and yada yada yada. But yeah, and it says right here also, Rule 2.14A, any NASCAR member charged with any violation of the law, misdemeanor, and or felony shall notify NASCAR. So, they didn't do that, and
Yeah, they're gone.
congratulations, you're suspended indefinitely.
I don't know
Most
about.
likely,
I don't know about anything about the careers of Chris Hacker or Joel Courage. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I didn't know he had to be registered as a sex offender. I thought all of them were DUI arrests, but I know Jason White's been in NASCAR for quite a while now. Hasn't really done anything spectacular though, so this is pretty big stuff. Like I checked it this morning, and it was just one of the drivers, and then I checked it like a few hours ago, and there was another one at it, and then I just checked it before we started recording, and there was a third driver that was suspended. I'm like, are we gonna make it 4? Can we make it 5? Can we make it 6? Can we just suspend the whole truck series at this point? Um, so that was pretty crazy, but um, can I ask, why do you not agree with what NASCAR did?
NASCAR. It's not that I'm not agreeing. It's that with people in NASCAR is going down the drain because of this situation.
Oh,
Because of these situations, more people are not going to want to watch it. And, it's
I don't.
NASCAR's coming on their 75th anniversary.
Mhm.
Who knows? Well, they are on their 75th anniversary, but who knows if they're going to get a 100th anniversary because of this kind of shit.
Right. I see. I can see where you're coming from with that. I don't think it's going to be that big a deal because these are three backmarker drivers in like the third division. So most people probably didn't like. I didn't know who they were. I didn't know they were still even racing in trucks until I saw this. And I follow NASCAR pretty much religiously. So, just to think of a casual fan, they aren't going to know. They probably won't even know that this is happening unless they watch a race and they hear it on TV. So, I don't think it's going to be that big of a problem. Now, if this was a star driver or multiple star drivers, then we have a different case in hand. But I don't think that's going to be the case here. I think they're going to be just fine. They've had problems with this before. Throwback to 2005 with the Kurt Busch situation. That got him kicked off of Roush. He didn't get suspended from NASCAR indefinitely, but he lost his prime ride at Roush and then spiraled into his stint with Penske and then the 51 ride and then Furniture Row and then he finally found footing at Stewart Haas. But and that didn't really do much damage for the sport either. And that was not only and then Kurt had more legal troubles in 2015 and then more other stuff after that. There's been plenty of instances. So I don't think this is going to be any different than any of those situations, but so not a big deal there. Anyway, there are a couple more things only. I know we've been kind of flying through this stuff, but this one's going to take a little bit longer because NASCAR revealed their 75 greatest races today. And we're going to go through each and every one of them and see if they are worthy of being on that list. So now most of them, or some of them I can say, we're not going to be able to fully rate because of the fact that we weren't alive to watch them. But thankfully, NASCAR is giving us is uploading the races to watch for free. And I think that is a great thing to do, especially for the older races. People get involved more with the sport and can see like the history of the racing and stuff like that. So I think that's a really, really, really smart idea for them. So I think they're in chronological order. So let's run right down the list. First one was so it looks like the first one took place in Detroit on August 12th, 1951. It was part of the 250th anniversary celebration of the city of Detroit. NASCAR ran a 250-mile event at Michigan State Fairgrounds. The race was won by Tommy Thompson, the only victory of his Cup career. For these first few, like I said, we're just going to kind of run down the list. The second one was the Daytona, February 10th, 1952. Marshall T wins in his fabulous Hudson Hornet for the second consecutive season. Even though I wasn't alive during that time, I still find that a very famous car. Not because of the movie Cars at all. No. It's because of the movie Cars. Third one is the Southern 500 from 1955. Herb Thomas, just 4 months after serious crash that injured him at Charlotte, Herb Thomas won his third Southern 500. The race was a complete sellout. 50,000 tickets sold. Man, how far ahead they would go from that and how far back they have regressed since. Oh, man. And then the Southern 500 the following year is also on this list. From 1956, Kurt Turner dominating it, leading 234 of the race's 364 laps en route to the victory. The Daytona 500 from 1958 is on the list as well. Paul Goldsmith, or it's not, I guess it wasn't Daytona yet. This is still on the beach. Last race on the beach, I guess, because they ran in 1959 was the first on the super speedway. But it was won by Paul Goldsmith. Final race on the Daytona beach, led all 39 laps. And then the first Daytona 500 in 1959, of course, I'll say that one definitely deserves to be on the list. A very iconic finish, and just a very iconic race in general. Of course, that really close three-way finish between Lee Petty, or I guess it was just two drivers. There's a lap car involved. Lee Petty and Johnny Bucamp took 3 days to officially crown the winner of the race, because it was 1959 and they didn't have a thing called instant replay or zoom in. So then the Southern 500 from 1961 is on here. Nelson Stacy pulling off the upset, passing Marvin Panch with less than 10 laps to go and holding on for the win. Daytona Firecracker 400 from 1962. When Fireball Roberts, after winning his qualifying race in the Daytona 500 earlier in the season, came back and won this race, so completing the Daytona sweep of 1962. And then the 500 from 1963. Marvin Panch, driver of the Wood Brothers 21, misses the 500. After suffering injuries in a fiery crash, Panch was pulled out of the wreckage by Tiny Lund and was replaced in the 500 by Lund, who went on to win the race. So pretty cool there. Charlotte, June 2nd, 1963. Junior Johnson, who leading the race, blows a tire with 4 to go. Fred Lorenzen takes advantage and captures the win. Darlington, the Southern 500 from 1963. Fireball Roberts wins in what is the fastest Southern 500 at the time, with an average speed of just under 130 miles an hour. Rockingham on Halloween 1965. Curtis Turner won the race with a race with 14 lead changes among 7 drivers. It was Curtis Turner's final victory of his career. Summer race at Daytona 1974. David Pearson backs off to allow Richard Petty to take the lead as the two drivers take the white flag. Pearson then uses his horsepower to slingshot past Petty for the win. Essence of drafting before it was really a big deal. So, and then the 1976 Daytona 500. Do I really have to say why this is on here? This is a very iconic finish between David Pearson and Richard Petty, both of them crashing, and Pearson being able to get his car refired enough to get across the line before Petty could and win the race. The following year's Daytona 500s on here. There's a lot of Daytona 500s on here, guys. I'm going to go back and count how many of them are the Daytona 500 or would have been the 500, because it was sometimes the beach. The 1977 one is here, and the only reasoning they have is because Janet Guthrie became the first woman to compete in the Daytona 500. An iconic moment for sure, but I don't know if that makes it a 75 greatest race eligible. I wouldn't say so, I guess, but maybe.
No, I wouldn't either.
The 500 from 1979 is on here. Again, do I have to explain why? Another very much deserving one for a very iconic finish, and an iconic fight after the race, too. Spring race at Darlington, also from 1979, is on here. The final lap thriller, 4 lead changes as Darrell Waltrip holds off Richard Petty for the win. 4 lead changes in just 1 lap at Darlington. That is pretty crazy, going for the win there. The 1981 Daytona 500 is on here. It was Richard Petty's 7th and final Daytona 500 victory. And then, of course, the 1984 Firecracker 400. Gotta say, why? The other one, do I have to explain it? It deserves to be on here. Petty's 200th win Ronald Reagan in attendance. What more do I need to say? Talladega on 1984. Dale Earnhardt passes race leader Terry Labonte on the high side in the final laps to grab the checkered flag. The race featured an insane 68 lead changes. So that's pretty crazy, actually. Even for Talladega standards, even for today's standards, that would be a crazy, crazy amount of lead changes. So really, really good. Southern 500 at Darlington in 1985 is on here. And it's because Bill Elliott made history by becoming the first driver to ever capture the Winston Million, which was a $1 million bonus for a driver who could win 3 out of the 4 crown jewel races of the season. So Bill Elliott was the first. The February Richmond race of 1986, another iconic finish when Dale Earnhardt and Darrell Waltrip crashed, both racing for the lead, allowing Kyle Petty to get his first career Cup victory. Yes, everybody remembers that race, but does it deserve to be in the 75 greatest races? I don't think so. I don't know. I think it has to be a little bit more evaluated than just that one moment. Like, you want to do 75 greatest moments? Yeah, that's one that definitely deserves to be on there. But as a race as a whole, I don't know. The 1987 Charlotte, May 25th, 1987. This was the pass in the grass race. Again, another moment where probably should have just been a moment, not the full race as a whole, but still a very iconic moment nonetheless. Pocono 1987. Tim Richmond, who missed the first 11 races of the season, leads the final 47 laps and wins is able to take the checkered flag. So pretty cool there too, to get that win. The 1988 Daytona 500 is on here. Was ran on Valentine's Day, surprisingly. This was the Allison 1-2 finish between Bobby and Davey Allison. So that's pretty cool. Phoenix at the end of the season, November 1988 is on here. It was Alan Kowicki's first career Cup win, and he did the Polish victory lap. It was the first time I got to see that. So that's pretty cool. 1989 Daytona 500 is on here as well. Darrell Waltrip gets his first Daytona 500 win in his 17th try. So, and then I think that's the one where he did the funky little dance and then the helmet slam on the ground in victory lane. I think that was the one where he did that. I think so. I don't remember. The All-Star race in 1989 is on here as well. Rusty Wallace and Darrell Waltrip made contact late in the race, going for the win, and it was a very controversial finish, as Wallace went on to win the event, and then there was a big fight after the race. Again, another iconic moment, but is it an iconic race? And I think that's a recurring theme that I'm starting to see with a lot of these races here. North Wilkesboro is on here from 1989 as well. The October race. Late race contact between leaders Dale Earnhardt and Ricky Rudd allows Jeff Bodine to take the checkered flag. And then a big fight after that as well. Don't know if that's really supposed to be in there, but okay. Michigan's on here, one from 1991. It was the first ever victory for Dale Jarrett, as he held off Davey Allison in a thrilling, dramatic finish. August 18th, 1991. Martinsville from later in that season, Harry Gant overcame a late race spin to capture his 4th consecutive Cup victory. So 4 straight wins, 1991. And then, of course, the 1992 Hooters 500 is on here. Don't need to explain that. We know that deserves to be on here for many, many reasons. So, then the 1993 Daytona 500, the Dale and Dale Show, another one that Yeah, that was a great 500, actually. I went back and watched that not too long ago. It's a great race, actually. And I think definitely that deserves to be on here. That was some pretty exciting racing all throughout. And an iconic finish as well to top it off. So, the Coke 600 from 1993 is also on here when Dale Earnhardt got 3 different penalties, but he was still able to get the victory at the Coke 600. So, Charlotte, the 600 in 1994 is also on here. Jeff Gordon's first NASCAR Cup victory. The inaugural Brickyard 400 is on the list as well, also won by Jeff Gordon. A Rockingham from 1994 is also on here. Dale Earnhardt holds off a last-second charge from Mick Mast to win at Rockingham, in turn clinching his record-tying 7th Cup championship. So, with still 2 races left to go on the schedule. So, the night race at Bristol from 1995 is on here. It's very obvious to see why. The finish was iconic. Don't need to go too deep into that. Southern 500 from 1997 is on here. Jeff Gordon captures the Winston Million bonus, being the second driver to do that behind Bailey Elliott. 1998 Daytona 500 is on here. We absolutely know why that's on here. But let me just tell you right now that this is a prime example of moment over race as a whole. This Daytona 500 as a whole sucked, okay? There was no action at all. Only like 3 cautions, right? And if Dale Earnhardt didn't win the race, nobody would ever be talking about it. But because he did, it becomes the most iconic 500 in history. And yes, that was a very triumphant moment, and it really set a good ending to what was an overall pretty great, it was overall not a great race, but it was not a great race. So again, this probably would have fit better as a moments list and not a race list overall. Anyway, 1999 night race, same reason as the 1995 one is on here. March Atlanta race 2000, very very close, 100th of a second finish between Dale Earnhardt and Bobby Labonte. Not surprising why that's on here either. And Dale Earnhardt's final victory is also on here, Talladega 2000. That is 4 consecutive Dale Earnhardts and 5 out of 6. That's pretty cool. The Rockingham race from 01, the first one, is on here as well. That was an alright race, split over 2 days. But was it the best? Yeah, sure. We'll keep it on here. Atlanta from 2001. Obviously, that's going to be on here. Daytona from 2001. Not the first one. The summer race. That's obviously going to be on there too. Darlington 2003. The closest finish in NASCAR history. That's obviously going to be on here as well. Not surprising. Homestead 2004. Kurt Busch's wheel falls off as in a tight battle for the championship, able to stay in the race, and he edges out Jimmie Johnson, Jeff Gordon for the championship in the first chase season. It's the one that is probably not very popular with fans because the chase was not very well received. So, there you go. Atlanta, March. Carl Edwards' first win, 2005, is on here. Later that season, Kyle Busch's first Cup win is on here at California. The 2007 Daytona 500, an actually very deserving one. This was an amazing race, all throughout with amazing finish. 100% deserves to be on here. Jeff Gordon's 76th Cup win, tying Dale Earnhardt on the all-time win list from Phoenix later that season, also is on here. Watkins Glen from that season as well is on here. That was an alright race overall. Good finish for sure, and some really good excitement down the stretch. I'll say, yeah, you could put that one on there. I'm okay with that one on there. Talladega 2009, when Carl Edwards flipped into the fence. That was a really good race too. So I definitely think that one's deserving to be on here. The 2010 Daytona 500, that was a pretty wild one with the track falling apart and it being two massive red flags because of it. And then a really, really thrilling finish with Jamie McMurray getting the win on Valentine's Day. The 2011 championship battle at Homestead between Tony Stewart and Carl Edwards. That one, I think, also definitely deserves to be on here, as the overall tension of the race really gave way for a really good race. 2012 Watkins Glen, we all know why that's on here. The finish of the race itself. Overall, wasn't the greatest race, but the finish was incredible. That's why it's on here. So maybe another moments thing, you know. Phoenix 2012. We know why that one's on here. Cue Clint Boyer sprinting to the garage area to kick the shit out of Jeff Gordon's pit crew.
I loved it.
Yeah, that was a pretty good race, for sure, but more of a moment thing again. But, well, keep it on here. Dover, June 2013. Jimmy Johnson penalized for jumping the restart and sent an intense battle between Juan Pablo Montoya and Tony Stewart, and Stewart ends up getting the win, and what would be his last victory for 3 whole years. The 2014 Daytona 500 was a great race overall. Rain delay, a lot of wrecks, some very thrilling racing at the end, and Dale Jr. won. How could I not like that? I'm surprised they didn't put the 04 Daytona 500 on here though, for sure. Homestead 2014. Kevin Harvick wins the first race in the new chase format. Wins the first championship in the new chase format. Homestead 2015, Kyle Busch comes back after missing a third of the season with a broken leg and wins the championship. Again,
Should have never happened, but still.
A moment thing, not a race overall thing. The 2016 Daytona 500, a very, very meh race overall, but a great finish. That's why it's on here. So, the 2016 championship race, that was a pretty decent race overall, so I'm okay with that one being on here. And of course, it's on here most specifically because Jimmy Johnson won the 7th championship. Martinsville 2017. Why is this one on here? Nobody wants this one on here, the fall race. It was a pretty thrilling finish, yes, but no, nobody wants this one. No, this didn't have any icon. This one doesn't even have the excuse of an iconic moment.
Which what race was that? Oh, that was
the race that Elliott
I know
should have
which one
won.
that was.
Race Elliott should have won and got dumped by Denny Hamlin.
Yeah.
Then there was a big one at the end. I guess maybe because it's the first time they used lights at Martinsville. I don't know. Chicagoland 2018. A great finish. But other than that, was it a great race? I don't know. I don't remember. To be honest, but iconic finish nonetheless. So why not? The Roval 2018. Really iconic finish. But yeah, yay! Everybody wants to remember that one. First race at the Roval. 2019 Daytona 500. This does not deserve to be on here. Obvious. No way. Does it not? Yeah, no. Denny Hamlin wins the. It was a Joe Gibbs 1-2-3 finish. In honor of J.D. Gibbs, who had passed away a month prior. A really cool moment for sure, and a moment of good healing. But does it really deserve to be on here? I don't think so. The night race at Bristol 2021. Fight at the end of the race between Chase Elliott and Kevin Harvick. That's the only reason why it's on here. It does not deserve to be on here. Talladega, fall 2021. Bubba Wallace becomes the second black driver to win a race in Cup history. Why? It would have made more sense to put Wendell Scott's win on here. This Talladega race was rain shortened. Okay? Rain shortened. No rain shortened race should be put on this list. I'm sorry. again, that's a moment thing, not a race thing. The championship race from that same year. No, that does not deserve to be on here. Not even for Larson winning the championship. Well, okay, maybe for Larson winning the championship. But no, just no. The Coda race from March 2022. A great finish. But no, it does not deserve to be on here as a full race. Okay, maybe it does. That was actually a pretty exciting race with a great finish. But point proven. The 2022 Coke 600. Yes, that deserves to be on here. That was a great race. I got no arguments with that one. Talladega from the fall. Like, what? Nobody. No, that does not deserve to be on here. Oh, that does not. I'm sorry. Chase Elliott won that race, but I don't care. It does not deserve to be on here.
I can see where you're getting with some of these. Like some of these are moment races when it
Like,
should be
not
good
even this.
races.
Some of these newer ones don't even have a moment to go along with them that are like worthy of them being on here. And then finally, Martinsville, last with the wall ride. Again, a moment thing, not a race thing. Okay, great moment, iconic moment. Will not argue that. Will not deny that. Does not deserve to be on the 75 greatest race list. Let's think of some that are not even on here that I think should be on here. Fuck. Nah, fuck. I'm drawing a blank. I can't think of one. I can't think of any. Shit. I can't think of. How about the 1999 Daytona 500? That was a great race. Okay. Awesome stuff. That's not on here. Or is it? I'm not going to contradict myself. Is it on here? No, it's not. It's not on here. Yes, it is. No, it's not. It's not on here. Okay. I'm just saying. Like, I know that there's a lot of iconic moments that make these races very popular for good reason. But they don't know. And like, yeah, sure, some of them that are great moments, fine. But not Talladega in the fall 2022. Chase Elliott won. That's why you're putting it on here. I know it is. I'm a Chase Elliott fan. No, this does not deserve to be on here. Anyway, what are your thoughts on that list? Before I go into full rant mode.
I don't think it was half bad. In my opinion, some of them, um, some of them are, kind of iffy, but I think that, I mean, they're not bad. It's just some of them are moment kind of things, like you said.
Exactly.
They're moments. Like it's like the Kyle Busch thing, winning the championship. Yeah, that's a moment, not a good race.
Exactly. So, anyway, no more of that. Unless you got anything else to add, we'll move on to our playoff outlook. So the trucks just had their first race of the playoffs. Xfinity and Cup inch closer to their playoff cut lines. So, Hitmaster, why don't you do the odds and let's take a look at the truck. Let's take a look at the updated truck grid. One race into their playoff.
Let's see. Well, I can find this. Where is it at? Standings. There they are. Raftsman. All right, so we are what, race 2?
Going on race 2, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So in race 2 of 3, I'm assuming, unless they do 2 races each, um, right now, Matty D, and Matt Crafton are two. Matt Crafton is 2 points behind, and it looks like Matt DiBenedetto is 3 points behind. Behind Nicholas Sanchez.
Okay. Still a tight race. So.
Yeah. Right now, the people that are basically locked, even if they wreck, is Ty Majetski and
Tamajeski's
Corey
cake
Heim.
because he won.
So,
Yeah. All good things. But I know the Xfinity race had some good playoff struggles. See what the outlook looks like going. They only have a few races left.
do they have 10 or. No, they have 12, right?
I think it's
If I'm
12,
not
yeah.
Okay. So, it's been switched up a bit, Pat, since the last time we saw it. So, John Hunter Nemechek locked in.
Mm-hmm.
All the winning drivers are locked in. Normal. Josh Berry is technically, if you count it, if it ended right now, Josh Berry is locked in the playoffs with Shelton Creed, Daniel Hamrick, and Riley Herbst. With Parker Kligerman and Brandon Jones, of all guys, are out. So, I'm looking at it. Brandon Jones needs a win. Needs a win. He is 65 points behind the cutoff. Meanwhile, Parker Kligerman is only 17.
Ooh. Tight race there. For
So,
sure.
if Junior Motorsports, if they all want their cars in the playoffs, Brandon Jones has to win.
It's definitely possible. I know Junior wants all of his cars in. I don't know if all the Junior Motorsports drivers want Brandon Jones in with them. But maybe.
Right.
But maybe. Who knows? So, see how that works out going forward. And then the Cup had a big shakeup. I know.
With Michael McDowell winning at the road course, it still makes me a little furious. But you know what? I'm happy for Michael McDowell.
You're not happy with him
Um,
winning?
I'll tell you why here in a second.
Oh, I probably know why.
Yeah, now you know probably.
I probably know why.
Right now, the two people that are definitely locked in, and I mean definitely, is Kevin Harvick and Brad Keselowski.
Well, no, they're not 100% locked in. We get a new winner at Watkins Glen and we get a new winner at Daytona, and it's not one of them.
Oh yeah, true.
One of them's not going
True.
in. So,
True. Fine. And let me say this. If it was to end right now, they would be locked.
mm-hmm.
So, now it comes to the point. The cutoff is Bubba Wallace. He is 28 points on top of Daniel Suarez, and this could happen, Ty Gibbs. But with the thing that happened a week ago, I don't think he's going to get in. But then you got the people that want to win, Chase Elliott. He is 80 points behind.
Right.
Let me remind you, at Watkins Glen, Chase Elliott finished second. Second to Michael McDowell.
We did.
The only reason why I say the Glen was a good race was because you got two guys on the cutoff
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, you got one person in the playoffs, but he was in chance for not being able to be in. And then you got someone who wants to get in, who's far distance. So you got one person battling for his playoff spot, and you got one person that wants to get in that playoff spot. So that was good.
Mm-hmm.
But you got Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman down near the bottom, both 80% off. I don't think Hendrick's getting all four drivers in just because
It's
it's
it's very, very unlikely.
right. Chase Elliott would have to win the Glen, and then Bowman somehow would have to win Daytona.
Yeah, I just don't
So,
see that happening.
right. And who knows? Maybe after Daytona, the week after Daytona, I'll say it. I'll be wrong. But until then, doesn't look like anything is going to
Doesn't
happen with Bowman.
doesn't look like it's gonna happen, but we'll see. Yeah, I was a little heartbreaking to see Chase Elliott almost lock himself in, and Michael Mc. I mean, I'm happy for Michael McDowell, right? Like
Of
he put
course.
on a really good race, and he did it fair and square and stuff, and Elliott just didn't get him back. Watkins Glen though is gonna have to be it. I don't see Elliott winning Daytona, and so if he's going in the playoffs, he's got to do it Watkins Glen. And after the performance he put up at Indy Road Course, I feel more invigorated about his possible chances to go there. We'll see though. Daniel Suarez also had a really good run. He's in the points hunt, so he's going to be running up front at Watkins Glen too. So I think it's going to be pretty interesting to see how it goes. Like you said, Harvick and Keselowski are most likely locked in, and then you've got Ty Gibbs also in the hunt, and Bubba Wallace too. Bubba Wallace.
I was going to say, let me just say, Kevin Harvick went from sixth place in the point standings to 13th in 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
That stings for a driver.
Mm-hmm.
Because with Kevin Harvick, he was like, oh yeah, I'm definitely making it in now. But now that one race ended it, you're 13th, and now you're on the brink of, oh no, am I going to get eliminated?
Right.
So,
So yeah. Bubba, he's above the cut line by 28 points. But road courses are not as great as track. He put up a fairly decent run at the Indy Road Course, but I think he's going to struggle at the Glen. Daniel Suarez is definitely going to jump on that. Ty Gibbs, I think, is not going to have a great day. He seems to be having a little bit of that rookie fallout, as we should say. Chase Elliott's obviously going to push hard for a must-win situation, and so
will Michael McDowell go for two?
he might go for two. Well, who knows? Four straight for Ford, pushing that too. So, see how that goes. But that's the playoff outlook. Now let's drop our predictions for Watkins Glen. No trucks this weekend. It's just Xfinity and the Cup race. Now Watkins Glen, we know Watkins Glen, right? It's a sleeper for a good race usually. A lot of stuff can happen, especially with it being the second to last race of the playoffs, or before the playoffs. With Daytona coming up, a lot of drivers like Daniel Suarez, like Chase Elliott, are going to who they know can win on the road courses, are going to push hard for points on the road course, because this Daytona's. Well, first off, Daytona's the rain's going to win Daytona, but and then also, anything can happen at Daytona. So it should be a really, really good weekend of racing. Hopefully lots of action, and hopefully a big shakeup in the playoffs. Hopefully a new winner. I like the new winners. I forgot to mention, Mike McDowell is locked in to the New Year's Eve Spectacular. He's the 20th driver to lock himself in now. So that's awesome, making his second appearance. So maybe we can go for 21 this weekend. Daniel Suarez still isn't locked in. Chase Elliott's still not locked into the event. So either of them could lock themselves in as the 21st driver this weekend. So that would be really cool to see happen as well. So let's jump into our predictions. They'll start with the Xfinity Series. Who are you predicting?
I'm going to go with Austin Hill.
Not a bad pick. Just signed an extension and might ride some of that momentum into a win. I'm going to pick AJ Allmendinger. Believe he's running. I didn't pick him last week because I didn't think he was running. He did run, and he did almost win the race. And so I want to maybe give him that little extra boost that he might need to win the Xfinity race. So, and then the Cup race. Do we have Le Chipos?
Yes, we do.
Ooh, baby.
All right, give me 1 second here. All right. So, once again, we will not have a Chase Elliott in here because, sadly, couldn't find anything at Michigan. But, oh well. And then after this, I have some cool news. So, for Tyler,
All right.
you'll be going back to back with Christopher Bell.
All right. Not bad.
Did we even do the chips last time?
For Indy? I think we did, yeah. We usually do.
I'll have to go back to the video then. I bet you somebody, and I mean somebody's making record. I mean, this would be cool. You get both Joe Gibbs drivers. I get Ty Gibbs.
Ooh.
So
I feel like you just had Ty Gibbs as well. I feel like one of us had just picked him.
What's funny is now, so this thinks that Ty Gibbs is going to win, make it into the playoffs. So, Ty Gibbs, if you're watching this, I picked you. Also, I noticed if you look on, like, it upside, if you push the 5 upside down, it's legit a backwards 5 or backwards 2.
Interesting.
Huh.
There you go.
You never knew.
Also, diecast update. I know I've been looking for the. So of course, there's one diecast I'm really looking forward to getting. Is that the Detroit Pistons Alex Bowman diecast? It's not up yet. It's for sale. It should get made because it's Alex Bowman. It's a Hendrick car. It should get made. Hoping it does. We'll see. But if it does get made, I'm buying it. And that'll be my first next gen diecast. I still don't have one.
The only diecast I have of the next gen is Chase Elliott.
So I'm looking forward to getting that. But anyway, that's our Watkins Glen predictions. Hitmaster's got some news to share. So,
as you guys know, me and Tyler went to MIS.
That's right.
And he got a pin.
I did.
The 75th anniversary, and so did I. I got the MIS pin.
Yep.
Well, I went to Hit Shop Official Gear.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys want some stuff, head on that. But I have officially bought a new pin.
Okay.
It was a 2-pack for $245, and this one's special to me as a racing driver because this was my second favorite track next to Michigan. With Auto Club Speedway officially going to be teared down and all that, I had to get the 2-pack of the day, the final race.
Oh, that's cool.
And the racetrack.
Oh, that's cool.
So
that's awesome.
Once that comes in, I will be showing it off.
That's awesome. For $2.45, that's a steal.
For $2.45.
Holy shit. That's awesome.
Or sorry, $2.95, but still.
For cheap. 2 pins, that's freaking incredible.
Yeah,
especially for new ones.
Pins at MIS, it was like $10.
Oh my god, yeah. Pin prices at some of these branded ones can be freaking terrible.
I'm hoping to get a Chicago street course one, but that's like $15. Mostly because it says inaugural.
Yeah, well, that's how they get you. So, anyway, that's I think all we had for this week for the Talking NASCAR podcast. Of course, next week we'll recap the stuff that happened at Watkins Glen, and then of course preview of the events at Daytona. I think it's just Daytona. I know the trucks' next race is the Milwaukee Mile. They're going back to Milwaukee. That's a big thing for them. I don't know that's the Daytona weekend though. Let's take a look real quick, shall we? Oh, it is. That's gonna be. So we're going to do the order a little bit different next week because that week. So because trucks are taking place the Sunday after the NASCAR and the Xfinity and Cup are at night, so they're racing Friday, Saturday. So anyway, that'll be next week. We'll do all the new stuff as well. We want to know what your thoughts are on the NASCAR set on the 75 greatest races list. Want to know your thoughts on, are you getting the arcade game? Are you getting the new NASCAR game coming out? What are your thoughts on that? Thoughts on all these other stuff that we talk about. And if you want to be a guest on this podcast, join the Pringle Sonic Company Discord. Link will be in the description. And you can request the Talk in NASCAR role. And we'll get a time worked out for you to get on and join the podcast. So that'd be awesome. But anyways, that's going to do for this video. So stay tuned for much more amazing content between me and Hitmaster coming to you. And until next time, we'll see you guys later. Goodbye.